All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Wednesday evening Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. I'm joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. I hope everybody is doing well today, this fine Wednesday. So, we have some news come out today. We will take a look to see how that news fared. And we'll go through some charts. Pretty slow motion day today. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So. Let me just make sure. All right, cool deal. We had interest rates coming out of the Bank of Canada today. Had some other things jump off too, but Bank of Canada delivers a rate statement, right? Raised the target for its overnight rates by 50 basis points to 4.25% in its latest meeting of in its last meeting of 2022, in line with market expectations. And pushing borrowing costs to its highest since 2008, policymakers added that they will also they're also continuing their policy of quantitative tightening, removing some of that money from the market. Policymakers noted that economic growth remains strong, although it is expected to stall through the end of the year and the first of 2023. All right. Also, labor markets remain tight, while inflation is still too high and short-term inflation expectations remain elevated. Looking ahead, the central bank will be considering whether the policy interest rate needs to rise further to bring supply and demand back into balance or return inflation to target. So it's in a sign that the tightening campaign could be near an end, right? They're talking about the potential of having these conversations to slow things down a little bit. Okay. So that's what happened, right? What the market expected overall, and somewhat of a dovish conversation, seeing as they're looking at the potential of shifting the policy stance and slowing down or stopping their rate increases. Okay. So that was the big news of today. We also had, there was another Japan Q3 GDP shrank less than initially thought. Japanese economy shrank 0.2% quarter over quarter in Q3, compared to the flash data of 0.3% fall, and after a 1.1% growth in Q2. This was the first GDP contraction in the year due to global cost pressures and the weakness in the yen. The latest figure came amid an upward revision of both government spending and net trade, with exports growing faster than initially anticipated, right? So it didn't shrink as much as they thought it would, right? So that was somewhat of a good thing for the yen, but it's still contraction nonetheless, okay? Then we have U.S. futures. Stock futures edged lower on Thursday, right? Which is tonight, Thursday, over in Europe. Extending losses as investors grapple with mounting recession fears, not in Europe, but APAC region, and lingering uncertainties around the path of the Federal Reserve rate hikes. Futures contracts tied to the three major indices were all down about 0.2%, and extended trading rent the runway surged 25% after online retailer topped revenue expectations. GameStop jumped 0.4%, even after reporting disappointing results. In regular trading on Wednesday, the Dow ended flat, with the S&P and the NASDAQ composite that fell 1.9% and 0.51% respectively. 8 out of 11 S&P sectors declined, led by communication services, technology, and consumer discretionary. Those moves came as the bond market flashed growing recession fears, right? We talked about that some yesterday, reflecting recent warnings from top U.S. Executives who flagged the possible recession next year. Investors now await the latest weekly jobs claims, as well as more earning reports from firms such as Broadcom, Costco, and Lululemon. Okay. So we got the fears starting to really press into the market. Okay. Jamie Dimon and other executives say, hey, this is coming. They've been saying it for a while, but now they're quote unquote getting serious about it. This is coming. The recession is coming, right? Be a cold winter is what some people have been saying. So we will continue to watch the markets to see how it goes. All right. See how it goes. So that is that. Over to the calendar real quick, right? That's that interest rate that we saw. Crude oil inventories was better than expected. And that's pretty much it. Okay, pretty much it. This is that final GDP quarter over quarter for the yen. Coming in tomorrow, we got President Lagarde speaking. We got unemployment claims for the dollar. And then going to be looking towards Friday. All right, going to be looking towards Friday. Core CPI. I'm sorry, core PPI and PPI data coming for the United States. These are the employment claims that investors are going to be looking at as well for tomorrow, right? Those are those numbers there. See how those come in line. Understanding that it could come out maybe above expectation. You have some of your large organizations. They may not have started doing it yet. Some have, Facebook and things like that, but folks are starting to cut jobs. They're starting to cut jobs. So that will definitely impact that unemployment claim number. And if it doesn't impact this month, look out for next month and in the following month for those to really start hitting the reports. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Do we got any questions? No? I got my chat up here. There we go. Jerry Kim, good evening. All right, so let's hop over to the charts. We'll take a look at the dollar real quick. I got a few pairs I want to take a look at for some potential setups that might slowly start to happen. And then we'll just work our way through and take a look to see what else is out there. All right. So on the dollar, we got a little bit of a retracement from this morning, right? Boom. Push down. Now we're starting to pull back a little bit. So we're talking about potentially seeing the dollar give us another push to the downside, right? We came back into this daily level that we broke through, right? Came back below, and we'll see if we stay below this level now and look for potentially just a retest and a continued push down, right, into this weekly support level in this 118, 127 zone. Okay, might take a little while to get there, but we have, let's go back real quick to the calendar. Next week, right, we got pound GDP month over month. We have Governor Bailey speaking. We got CPI for the United States. Then on Wednesday, we have CPI coming for the pound. And then we got the FOMC rate statement for the United States coming in the afternoon on Wednesday, right? So we could see somewhat of a slowdown, especially with it being holiday season and things like that. We could see things start to slow down. This could give us a little bit of a boost. And then into Thursday, we have the rate statement coming for the Swiss franc and the pound, right? Oh, and the euro, right? All three of them on the same day, right? So this Wednesday and Thursday next week definitely could give us some volatility as we close out the year. Okay, could give us somewhat of a directional push heading into Christmas. All right, so wouldn't necessarily be surprised if we get a lot of consolidation through the rest of the week. So we'll continue to monitor. And then on Friday, you got retail sales, core retail sales. Those numbers will be important as well on Thursday. And then on Friday, PMI data coming out for the euro and for the pound. All right, so next week is going to be a pretty big week in the second half. Okay, so keep that all in mind as we're looking at these charts, right? So we came into this key level. Now, if we get a retest and start to make this push down, we could see this make its way to the downside through the rest of the week, right? And then potentially into the beginning of next week. If we're at this weekly support level, when that rate statement comes out, it could be interesting to see how the dollar moves. Okay. And it could go in line with that rate statement. So just keep that in mind, right? We'll watch these key levels. Part of the reason that I stop at the daily time frame when I'm doing these levels, because generally when they line up with 118, 127 zones, and key data, right, you get some interesting reactions. So we'll see how that fares, but that's what I'm looking for on the dollars, for another push to the downside coming into this support zone here. All right. Any questions on the dollar? Cool. All right, so let's take a look at this Aussie NZD. We've been watching and talking about it, right? So from a weekly perspective, we're still stalling at this support. Okay, still stalling at this support. Aussie data didn't come out too strong, right? We had some revisions in data that didn't fare well for the Aussie, but through all of that, right, come down to the daily time frame, through all of that, we're still sitting at this level. We tried to break through, but couldn't do it, right? Trying to get a little bit of a push down now. We'll see if we're able to close below this weekly support level, but right now we're stuck at it, right? And we're starting to get some indecision and some consolidation. So this is on the daily time frame. You got a 618 retracement, right? And that's where this zone, this weekly zone is. Okay. So I'm still watching this to see what transpires, to see what see if it does turn over at some point. So as you drop down here to the 4, you're still sitting in this 118, 127 zone. Okay. Just that trend line running to the downside. And we haven't gotten a break yet. Okay. We haven't gotten a break. We pushed into it, and now we're pushing away. So we'll watch to see if at some point we get a nice bullish move here. Okay. So I'm watching it closely. Got the 118, 127 here on the 4. Okay. As we come down to your 1 hour, you get a closer look and you have a 118, 127 zone as well. And you see this was that nice bullish push, and now you're getting a retracement. Okay. So the question is going to be, does this retracement just stay a retracement and then give us a push to the upside like so, right? Potentially some double bottom action, right? Something like that. Okay. If this level holds, right, and we get that double bottom look in that zone somewhere like that, we could be in for a move back to the upside. Okay. So keep your eyes on this one and look and watch. And what I want to see is not only this double bottom, but I want to see a break of the trend line and a strong bullish break back above this weekly level, right? That'll be the confirmation that I need for an entry on that one to the upside, and I'll place my stop down below the low, right? So if we get that, we could then be in for a push to the upside here. Okay. Now, another piece of little confirmation, right? You can start running because you zoom in here, right? You got your swing low and you got a swing high. So you can start running your sub fibs here. See if you get price to push into your sweet spot. And we'll look at it on the lower time frame as well. But if you get price to push down here, 618 or deeper, that could also be an opportunity for you, right? For a good risk to reward scenario, right? Entry somewhere in here and your stop below your low, right? Something like that. And now you're looking at a risk to reward in this range, right? Just off that smaller wave, which we know it could continue to extend further. Okay. So something to think about, right? Depending on what your rules state, right? And what confirmations you're looking for. Okay. But that could be an opportunity as well if that met your rules, right? On that pullback there, right? Something like that. Kim, is this a 4-hour chart you're on now? No, ma'am, I'm on a 1-hour chart here. I'm on a 1-hour chart. So looking for that pullback there, and we'll see again if it stays inside that AB boundary, right? If it breaks the AB boundary, then it's a no-go, right? So you want to see that push down and then see if we get a swing low to form, double bottom type action. Okay. Now we'll look at this area a little bit closer on the 5, and that looks like this. Surprise, surprise, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. We got some consolidation and prices breaking down now, right? So this is that zone we're looking at on the 1, right? So if we get price to push down into our sweet spot, right? Push down into our sweet spot, that could give us an opportunity then. Whoops. Could give us an opportunity on the push up. Okay. So we'll watch this and see how it continues to develop, and see if price gets down to this to our sweet spot and settles in, right, and starts to consolidate a little bit and gives us a swing low. Okay. And once price really starts moving, you can run your trend lines to the downside here on the lower time frames, right? And then look for that trend line break. So as price continues to push down, once it gets in your zone, see if you get a swing low and a trend line break, if you're going to look for this deep retracement entry on the 5. Okay. You guys follow me on this? All right, sweet.
Yes.
Sweet. Appreciate you. So watch that one and see how it develops. Okay. No questions here on the Aus New Zealand. Take it. Cool. CAD Swiss. The CAD Swiss. This is another one that slowly developing, right? Got a couple things to keep our eyes on. So on a weekly time frame perspective, we're pushing down, right? We push below this weekly support level here. And we'll see if we got a few levels here. Let me mark these real quick. Support. We got this cluster here. Okay. Sitting at another level of support. And we got another there. Okay. So we're sitting at support, right? We got this cluster that we're trying to break through. We'll see what happens. CAD didn't necessarily come through super hawkish today, but we could see potentially a rally in commodities and such through the end of the week. So we'll see if we get a bounce off of this low. Okay. So we come down to the daily time frame, and it may not be that low, but it could be this low here. On your daily time frame, you got a 618 retracement, and price has been moving down ever since. Right. So you got your daily your matching D extension at the 1618 level in line with the second weekly support here. Okay. So we could see this one continue to press down, get to that D extension. Okay. Get to that D extension, and then we could potentially see a bounce. Okay. So we'll look for that. We'll watch that to see how it develops. Okay. As we move to the 4, you got similar look. Okay. On your 4, 618 retracement, daily resistance level, bang, push down. Your matching D extension at the 1618 level is in line with that weekly support, 68,172. Right. So you got your daily and your 4-hour in alignment, both pointing to more downward pressure, but we could potentially get price to stall around this weekly level. Okay. Could potentially get to stall around that weekly level. So now we drop to the 1 and look, right? Fresh AB boundary, consolidating at that B boundary zone, that weekly support level. Here, we'll mark this out like this. Come back to the daily, right? Take that level, make that red, right? That's our daily D extension, okay? And we'll take this down to our lower time frame, just so we can watch this zone, right? So on your 4, it's right in line with that daily D extension, okay? So boom, daily D extension, 4-hour D extension, right in line with that 127 zone, also in line with the weekly support, okay? So this is the zone we're watching right here. This is our zone. We want to see price come into this zone and see if it stalls. If we get price to stall in this zone, give us a swing low and a trend line break, it could be off back to the upside, right? Could be off back to the upside. So this is what I want to keep my eyes on. Don't know how long it'll take, right? Could be a while. But once we get there, I'll be looking for that action, right? Swing low, trend line break for potential pushback to the upside, right? This has been a long, strong move to the downside, right? Strong move to the downside. Beautiful, okay? Came off of this consolidation here, all right? And you look here, right? Look at those fibs running down. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna clean that up real quick, right? That's an alignment there. Got 2 different looks on that. I didn't see these fibs running down. So we'll look at it 2 ways, right? This move to the downside here, right? Came off of a 618 retracement, pushed down. So that's actually a fresh AB boundary. That 118, 127 zone is still in line with what we're looking at, right? These fibs come off of the high, okay? These larger waves come off of the high. So that's a little bit of confirmation for us, right? From a longer term perspective and from a short term perspective. AB boundary, shallow retracement, pushing to the 118, 127 zone, in line with daily D extension, 4-hour D extension, right? You guys follow that change? Sorry, I mixed that up a little bit. Jerry follows, okay. Right? So that's the larger waves to the downside, right? That's what I had. So what I had on the screen originally were these smaller waves, right? Smaller waves just off of that impulsive leg down would still put you in the same zone, right? That 118, 127 zone. Take these larger ones out real quick. That 118, 127 zone there is the same as that larger 118, 127 zone, right? In that same area, right? So it's all lining up in this zone for us, okay? So we're going to want to watch that closely, okay? We want to watch that closely. What I am going to do, though, is pull those out, and we will monitor this off of the larger waves, build potentially a larger move for us if price makes its way back to the upside. So we'll monitor it from there, like so, okay? All in that zone. All in that zone. You guys see how, and this is kind of similar to that Euro CAD where we had multiple time frames lining up for 118 and 127 zones, right? So here is the extensions on your higher time frames and a 118 and 127 zone on your 1, right? But you got multiple time frames where the fibs are almost in direct alignment, right? So this could potentially be a powerful zone for us, right? Support, and then we'll see if we get a swing low on the trend line break. Okay. Questions on this CAD Swiss? No, it's making sense. See if there's anything on these lower time frames. Nope. Let's see. Nope. not much doing, right? But you got a 8-6 retracement, price trying to make its way down, right? So you could see those ABCD waves play out to the downside on the 5, getting you back to that zone. Okay, so nothing much there on the 5. Okay, so that's the CAD Swiss. That's the CAD Swiss. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's take a look at this. What I got here. It's Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie. So we were thinking, hey, Euro started to pick up some strength last night into this morning. We might get a break of this high and we might start to get a push. This level, this weekly level is holding strong. It's holding strong. All right. We come down to the daily. This was that push back up, right? And we weren't able to push through. So we'll continue to watch this to see overnight, right, into tomorrow, if we finally get that break above and then a continuation higher, right? But if this continues to turn over and press down, we could see this range continue to play out, right? Top of the range to the bottom of the range, looking at 400 pips. So this could be one that, again, if price turns over on your lower time frames, you could play those smaller waves back down to the bottom of that range. So we'll watch and see. Sideways push right now. Okay. So as you drop to the 4, you see that push up. All right. That push up got us to that D extension here on the 4. Got us to that D extension. We got a fresh AB boundary now. So again, this level is going to be key. See if we stay below and start making those waves down off the B boundary, or if we break that level and start making our way to the upside. Okay. So if price does stay below that resistance, then we'll look to get short. If price breaks above, if you trade break and retest, right, you can look for a break and a retest for the continuation. All right. To the next level. Okay. Which coincidentally is in line with the 118, 127 zone. Okay. So if you play break and retest and you get that, that could be an opportunity for you to the upside, right? 200, 300 pips to the upside there off of break and retest. Now, again, if price stays down, right, we run our trend lines to the upside and we're looking for, but here on your 4, that was your trend line break there. We'll see if that holds. Okay. We'll watch to see. Pushing into that level. If that holds, we could get a breakdown. We'll look at it on the 1 hour as well. Okay. Here on the 1, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. All right. So your trend line coming off of this. We'll bring all of them up. I want to see what they're looking like. Trend lines coming up like so. Bang. Right. So now, right, this is your trend line here. Originally, that trend line would have come in like that. Bang. Okay. We'll see if it holds. That was a decent break, but then we got this sideways push, right? It immediately went sideways. So this one is questionable, which is why I moved it out, because again, we broke it, but then we pushed sideways, right? So depending on your preference here, mine is to play it cautiously, right? And look for that trend line break there. But if you want to play that more aggressively off of that and look at that as a retest, you could, because that was a nice break right there. Okay. Head and shoulders, potentially, right? Looking at it right here. Right. It's a little off, right? It's a little lopsided. So Smart Trader gives it an 87%, right? Because some of those it's not a clean sideways push. You would have really liked that to be flat like so, right? But Smart Trader gives it a 80% accuracy. So could be, right? You got your push up, right? Came down, pushed up, took out your previous high, came back down, broke your trend line, come back, retest, previous resistance. It could be. Good catch, Donette. Good catch. Okay. So we'll watch it and see if that plays out. See if that plays out. Okay. And you got your 80-20 scenario in there as well, right? To the downside. So this could turn over. We'll keep that on. We'll watch it and see how it plays out. Okay. But potential move to the downside. So that kind of gives us a little bit of confluence here from the higher time frame, right? Of pushing down from the top of this range, coming down to the bottom. Okay. Gives us a little confluence if we get this right shoulder to turn over. Okay. And then you can play that to the downside. Okay. Good catch on that. All right. That gives me even more reason to move this to the outermost point here, right? So we get a trend line break here, take an entry off of the trend line break here, more confirmation for me, right? Mentally, that gives me some additional confirmation, right? More conservative play than taking it off the high. Could see it pull back, something like that, right? And then see it push to the downside, right? Or break this, right? Generally how these head and shoulders patterns play out. You get a break of the neckline, come back, retest, and then move like that, right? So we'll watch it and see. Okay. But that's what I'm looking at, right? Move to the bottom of the range. And if we break that trend line there, right? Then, and Benny talks about this a lot, right? Inner trend line, outer trend line, which puts you in line again with that support level in the bottom of that range, right? So to the trend line is 279 pips, and we got 370 from the break of that trend line down. That'd be a nice move. Okay. So watch that one close. Watch that one close as well. Okay. Yeah. See here on your 5. Oops. Here on your 5, shallow retracement just shy of that 118 level. And that was that breakdown. Now we're getting a pullback. All right. So this was that original break, potentially break of the trend line. Now we're getting a pullback there. Okay. Yeah. So that's the Euro Aussie. Give me 1 second, everybody. My bad, everybody. So that's the Euro Aussie. We got any questions there? Jerry said no. Shauna. Nope. No questions on the Euro Aussie. All right, cool deal. Real quick, do you guys have any pairs that you got your eyes on that you want me to take a look at? I'll open it up this morning as well. See if you guys have any we can take a look at. If not, we'll walk through. But take a moment, drop those into the chat if you have them. Aussie CAD. All right, cool deal. Let's look at it. Still hovering. Look, still hovering at that 8.6 retracement level. That news, right? Tried to give us a push, but not really. Pushed back up into that level. Okay. So this is another one that's sitting at a key level. We'll have to wait and see, right? The breakout on these that are just hovering at these levels is it'll be interesting, whichever direction it breaks out to, right? But we're just hovering right now. We got some indecision on this new day. We'll come into the 4. And we got our 118, 127 zone, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127. Not able to push above. Yeah, Shauna, waiting to see, man. Waiting to see, right? Waiting to see. Not able to break the trend line. So we'll see what happens here. That actually would be it. I'm going to take this inner one out. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to take the inner trend line out. That's going to be our trend line there, right? That's the touch, push up. So, yeah, it's just hovering, man. It's just hovering, not able to break above that level. So, again, those if-then statements, right? If price pushes up and breaks above that level, right, we could see a retest and a continuation higher, right? If price pushes down, breaks a trend line, you see price continue to the downside, all right? So wait for your confirmations here, but waiting on the trend line break, Michael. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, right? Beautiful 80-20 setup, and it's doing what we like to see it do. Shallow retracement, 118, 127. Now let's see what catalyst we get to push it to the downside, okay? We shall see. We shall see. So we drop to the 1. You got a similar look. Similar look. Sitting right inside that 118 and 127 zone off the shallow retracement. Okay. Now here on the 1, if you wanted to be more aggressive here, you could pull that inner trend line coming off that last touch up like that, super tight. But if you wanted to, you could. Okay. But that's what we're looking at. 80-20 on your 4 hour and on your 1 hour, and you got an 8.6 retracement, right, off of the daily. Okay, so even if you're looking to swing this off the daily, right, and you place your stop above the high, right, you got risk of 100 pips to the upside for a reward of 522 to the downside, right? So different ways to look at it depending on your trading style, right? But we're here nonetheless. Let's see that a boundary. Oh yeah, right, like so, right? So the A boundary is right around this this daily resistance level here. Okay, so it's an opportunity to watch, right? Wait for those confirmations, right? You look at it from trend line perspective, right? Or if you even wanted to drop your cloud on there, like so, right? And wait on the cloud break. You see the cloud is running right along with those trend lines, right? Cloud acts as the more flexible trend line, right? Moves better with price. So you get break of the trend line, TK crossover, Kumo twist, right? And look for that move to the downside. Okay. So a couple different ways to look at it there. Someone have a question?
Yeah, sorry about that. On the 1 hour, can we still have another trend line, like another tight trend line going up?
An aggressive trend line here.
Yeah,
What I'd suggest if you're going to run that one is drop down to your 15. Drop down to your 15, just because this one doesn't give you a really clean look, right? It's super tight there, right? You could do it, but I would suggest dropping down to your 15 like this, right? And what you can do is you can do a couple of things. You can run your fib on the 15 like that, or the other thing you can do is you can copy this fib off the 1, right? Grab your manual fib, copy it here. This is another way to get confirmation. When you'll hear Benny talk about going from your 1 hour to your 15-minute, right? Or from your 4 hour to your 1 hour. This is how you do it. Copy that fib off of the time frame that you're looking at the fib on, right? And you want to monitor your trade on. And then you drop that fib down to your lower time frame. So now you got your 1 hour fib showing on your 15-minute, right? Right. So you got your 1 hour fib shown on your 15-minute. Now you can look at it from a 1 hour perspective, and you can run these tighter trend lines to the upside. Right. So that one will come like that. Okay. And then you'd have your inner trend line running like that. Right. That would be that. This is a sideways push. That's your break.
yeah, that's what we're looking at. Thank you.
Yep. So that's what I would suggest. If you want to look at those really tight trend lines, drop down the time frame. All right. Look for those more aggressive entries. Drop down the time frame, and then once you get that break, you can then place your stop above the high. Like that. Right. So you break. Now it's pushing sideways now through the Asian session. We'll see what happens. But now you got your risk to reward set up like that. All right. 16 pips on that. And then whatever your reward is to the downside off of that 1 hour fib. All right. Back to your 382. You're looking at 147. Right. It's a beautiful scenario. Makes sense, Mike?
Yes, sir. Copy that.
Beautiful. Great work. Any questions on this Aussie CAD? It's a good setup, right? Just waiting patiently, right? And you can even, right, if you again want to run that cloud, you're on the 15, right? Look at it like that. Okay, getting close to it now. We'll see what happens. Cool. All right, let's look at this pound yen. Let's see what happened here. All right. Daily time frame. That's what we're looking at right now, right? Shallow retracement. And we just got this range playing out, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range, trying to push back to the top. We'll see if we get there. If we get there, then we can look to play it from top to bottom. All right. But it's just sideways pushing, man. Just sideways. No real direction, right? On your higher time frames anyway. Okay. So I'm looking at this from this range scenario, right? Once we get back to this weekly resistance level, we'll see what happens, right? To the top there. If we break that, then we get to that daily, but I'm looking more at this weekly resistance as the top of the range, right? So I want to see if price does something like that, right? And we got that rate statement coming next week. So we'll see how things fare then, right? And then see if something like that happens. Okay. We'll drop down to your 1 right? Ran the fib just off the bottom of that range. And you see it's just chopping away. Sideways push through the trend line, right? So not much doing there, but you did get a 50% retracement. The matching D extension is here. You did get that double top snare that we talked about this morning, though, Reese, right? So in the lower time frames, you could have played that move down, right? But you didn't get a nice clean break of that trend line, right? Didn't get a nice clean break of that trend line. So looks like we're still gonna be in a range for a minute, right? If it doesn't push to the upside and get to these higher levels. Okay. So I'd sit and watch it, right? I'd really be looking for this trend line break here. We'll see if price comes back and stalls again at this resistance level, probably 4-hour resistance here, or if it starts to make its way back higher. That's what I'm looking at, right? I'd really like for price to get back up to the top of this range, though. That's what I'd really like to see, right? And give us a nice clean scenario, get a swing high there, and then a breakdown. Okay. You drop down to your lower time frames, still not a ton, right? Just chopping away sideways. This is on your 15. You got a 786 retracement, matching extension is there if it continues pushing to the upside. Right? You bring that down to the 5. Not much doing. So I feel you, Reese. Looking for an opportunity short on it. At least I am. But I would really love to see price get up here to the top of that range first. I'd really like to see that. On these lower time frames, you could definitely get some good action though, right? You got a nice deep retracement here. That's a beautiful play off the 618, didn't quite get to the 786 level there, right? That was a beautiful move to the upside, even back to the top of that. Okay. But if you get this push here, right? 147 to the matching D extension. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah. Just choppy. You short or you long on it right now? Short from the box. Yeah. Yeah, it respected that trend line, man. It respected that trend line and just pushed sideways. So, but you probably in profit right now, a little bit at least, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. See if we get that push to the upside. Yeah. I'd manage it really tight, really tight. Yeah. Good deal though, right? It was a good catch. Good move off the top. Any other questions on this pound yen? No. Cool deal. Any other pairs you guys taking a look at that you want me to take a look at before we wrap it up? No. All right, let's actually I want to take a look at I didn't look at this other one, this pound CAD. Still ranging. Still, well, not ranging, but pushing to the upside, right? Similar to some of the other CAD pairs, right? We finally pushed into this daily level. Didn't break through it with that news, right? Still hovering with some indecision. Okay. Here on your 4, still hovering there, right? We definitely could push to get to that D extension here on the 4, but continue watching it to see, right? If we break this level, we could definitely be headed to that 173.801, right? Decent ways to go, but we could be headed there. We drop down here to the 1, similar deal as the 4. Okay. It's just taking a sweet time. So we'll watch it and we'll be patient with it, and allow it to give us confirmations there. Starting to see it slow down a little bit. Yep. Starting to see it slow down a little bit and push sideways. Okay, so starting to level out. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's the pound CAD. Euro dollar. Euro dollar. Kind of a similar deal to the rest of them. You got a 618 retracement. Tried to push down past couple of days. Now we're pushing back to the upside a little bit. So just like we looked at on the DXY, right? If the DXY pushes down, okay, we could see this rise at least back to this weekly level, right? Depending on how deep that DXY goes, potentially even back to 107. Okay, potentially back to 107. Still inside the AB boundary on the daily time frame, though. Okay, still inside that AB boundary. So we drop down to the 4. Okay, and we see here we got a shallow retracement. We're in the 118 to 127 zone, getting that sideways push. So again, it's about being patient and waiting for that trend line to get broken. Okay, wait for that trend line to get broken. If it doesn't, allow it to continue to run to the upside, because again, we could see it push. All right, we could see it push. So the scenarios like this, I wouldn't run those tight, aggressive trend lines, right? I'd allow them to stay more conservative, right? So this trend line here, as opposed to running this tight one to the upside like that, unless you're just looking at these short-term moves, right, on your lower time frames. But if looking at the swing opportunities, I would definitely play scenarios like this more conservative, right? And allow this trend line to get broken here, seeing as, again, holiday season, going into the end of the year, into the quarter, all of those variables. With the FOMC meeting next week, I'd play these with more caution, right? And be a little bit more conservative here. But that's the deal there. So we could see another push to the upside. As we come down to the 1, you got your fresh AB boundary. You got your 382 push here, right? Now, if this holds, right, you could have a crown pattern scenario here, right? Took out the previous high, came down to the level of support, right? So we'll see if that plays out that way. If it does, you could see this rise, break that level, and then again head to de-extension, right, in that 107 level that we looked at off the higher time frame. Okay, so something to keep in mind that could play out there, but that all plays into price potentially pushing back to the upside if that level holds. Okay, if that level holds. So that's on your 1. That's on your 1. On your 5. Interesting scenario here. If you play the deep retracements, right? You're sitting at a 786 retracement, 618 retracement level. So the matching D extension would be here off the 5-minute, right? So that could be a move to the upside if you get a nice clean break of your trend line. And to the downside like that. Get a nice clean break. That could be an opportunity to play that to the upside. Place your stop below the low. Something like that if you're looking for a short-term move on the 5-minute off a deep retracement. Okay. Questions on the euro dollar. All right. The primary play here would be the 80-20 off the 4 if we get a break. Okay. Cool deal. Look at oil, then gold, and we will wrap it up for the evening. Oil. Come back to the daily. Bang. So our daily support there, right? That swing low, pushing back down to it. Okay. We got a shallow retracement, but we haven't been able to break back above this 93.73 level. Okay. Haven't been able to break back above it to give us that deeper retracement. Pushing down. All right, matching the D extension 1618 level is down there at what's that 64.37. Okay, we could get there. We could get there. All right, we'll see how things continue to transpire with Europe shutting off the seaborne oil. We'll see if we get this continued trickle to the downside, and if investors continue to fear recession, right, and continue to have those talks, that then leads to demand fears. That'll also push oil to the downside, right? So this move down could definitely be possible. Okay, we'll drop down here to the 4. Okay, similar deal, same confluence. That's a little higher at 65.28, but not able to break above and push, right? Not able to break above and push. So we'll see what happens as we get down to these lower time frames, which is crazy. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, not lower time frames, but these lower support levels, right? And we're looking at that 66.09 and that D extension 65.64 range off the daily and the 4 hour for price to settle in, right? Potentially even get down to 61.67, which is in line with where the United States wants to get oil as a low price to buy it to fill up the reserves. So all of that kind of plays into price continuing to trickle to the downside and things ultimately pushing price down. Okay. We get down to the 1 and we got a similar story. Run the fib off the high. There's our AB boundary there. Shrink that in, right? On the 1, it's down below that $62 level, 61.45. So again, signs point to the downside here as well. So we'll see what happens, right? You can run your trend lines off of here, like so. That's more of an aggressive one, but it works. All right. As long as price stays below your trend line, allow it to stay below, get to the lower levels, and then see if we get a turn. All right. So this could continue just to trickle to the downside. Okay. Questions on oil? You see anything specific on oil that you're looking for, Reese? Pop over to gold. Let's see. What we'll do is we'll end this one with a fresh markup, and that's how we'll wrap up tonight. Waiting for that bounce. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's clean this up. Let's do a fresh markup on gold. See where it is. Monthly time frame. All-time high there. Beautiful double top scenario. Okay. We'll zoom out and get our low here. All right, so now support and resistance like so. All right. Beautiful support there. Nice bullish move. All right. Now we're trying to get a little bit of a retracement. Level there. There and there. Drop down to the weekly. That's our support level. Got a couple resistance levels there. All right, you see we push down, beautiful swing low, and we got to push up, right? So now we want to see, came back, this was a level of resistance here, right? That price just took out on the weekly, okay? but it's kind of testing that level, but it's respecting a little bit, right? Like so. And this is that level here. Okay. Pushed up, took it out, but not able to close above. Okay. So we'll see this again. We'll see this level again on the lower time frame. But that will be a key level to watch, right? And actually, I'm going to leave that there as we move through, just so we have it noted. All right. This is that wick that took it out. Okay. So seeing as we have a swing high on the daily, I don't need it. So we'll reverse that. We'll take that out. We'll put that daily resistance there. All right. Like so. There and there. Support there. Cool. Right. So we got our daily, weekly, and monthly support levels in. Now let's take a look at it from a fib perspective. I'm going to run the fibs off the high here. All right, we've got this nice double top scenario. Run the fib from the high to the low. And this is where we at. The triple bottom scenario here, push to the upside. All right. So nice 618 retracement. Now we'll see what happens. Okay. Now we'll see what happens. Drop down to the 4. Zoom out. So we know on the daily time frame, right? Let's go back real quick. Daily time frame. Okay. Deep retracement. So we have potential 618 retracement, daily resistance. Okay. So potentially we could be ready to move back down to the downside. Okay. Price is still within an AB boundary. Got a key level of resistance that we're sitting at. Right. And this also was a weekly level of resistance. Okay. So it's pretty strong level that we're sitting at with the deep retracement on the daily time frame. So we could be in for potential price to turn over and start making its way back down. Right. So right now, my bias on this is short. Right. We've been moving to the downside so far. Right. Price is turning over, trying to push down. Okay. So we come down to the 4. We zoom out and we look at it, right? We ran those fibs off the high. Price pushed up, just barely took out the A there. Okay, just barely took out the A. So we'll turn our flips up, flip the fibs over and run them from the low. Okay, we got a 382. Price is stalling here. So 2 potential options here. Okay, if price breaks above this daily level, look for a retest and continuation to the next level, which will also hit that D extension at the 1618 level. Okay. If price does that, you got a nice push to the downside here and you're getting a little bit of a retracement. So the other option is push down. Right. And then this push down, we could start to then continue making lower highs and lower lows, making our way deeper within that AB boundary. Okay. But that could be the turnover off of that daily fib, remember, 618 retracement. This could be the turnover for price to start making its way down. So I want to see if price breaks back below the 1765. If we break below that 1765, that'll be an opportunity to get short, right? If we stay above it, we could either play in this range or break higher. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at from a 4-hour time frame perspective. We've come down to the 1. I'm going to run these fibs off the low again. Got taken out to the downside. Okay, got taken out again. Okay, so now here on the 1, we're looking at fibs coming. Maybe, there we go. Looking at these fibs coming to the downside. Boom, right? So here on your 1, 618 retracement level, right? price turned over. So we'll see if we're able to push down and take that level out. All right. So again, you had that B boundary, right? Right at the 1765. So if we break below that B boundary, headed to the D extension, right, which could give us that continuation move to the downside. Okay. So what you can do, run your trend line off this low. Right. So your inner trend line would have run like this. Right. If you're looking at this earlier, that would have been your trend line break, bang, push down, retracement. Right. Now we're just hovering right at this trend line here, right at your outer trend line. So another way you can look at this, if you get a nice bearish break of this trend line and a retest and a hold, that also could be an opportunity, more aggressive opportunity, but more aggressive opportunity to push to the downside there. Okay. So we're just hovering right now at the trend line here, and we'll see what happens. But my bias on this one, right, from a higher time frame, I'm looking for short opportunities. Okay. I'm looking for short opportunities. Here you got a 618 retracement, right? If it lines up for you, could be an opportunity for that push to the downside. Right. And like I said, 1765.86, we get a nice bearish break below that. I'm really looking to get short and be short for a while. Okay. But again, if we break above that 1809, then there'll potentially be some buying opportunities on a break and retest scenario. Okay. Questions on gold? Brandy, what you seeing? What you looking for? Anything? Waiting to see what price. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I dig it. I dig it. Cool deal. Questions on anything that we covered this evening? You're welcome. You're welcome. No questions? All right. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. Benny will be running that session for us in the morning. So we'll see you then, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great evening. Peace.